Okay, so yeah, should be recording now, hopefully. And yeah, just wanted to do a video talking about Castorice and my polling plans for the next patch, as yeah, that's kind of what a lot of people have been talking about online, I noticed. And Castorice can just be found here in the overworld, by the way. You've done the current Trailblaze mission. It's like in Akima, in this area around here. I saw it the other day when I was grabbing some chests. But yeah, if I don't press pause now, then Jade will start her idle animation. But yeah, as you can see, I have quite a few stellar genes saved up here. I don't have any Ornix shards though, but yeah, I've been saving for a bit. I did do a tenfold the other day because I got bored during. Uh, I think I did it on White Banner just to see if I could get her early. But yeah, I had just gotten an early character the other day in my extra copy of Yanqing, but yeah, my Yanqing is currently at E5. I don't really mind too much that I got him, since it does allow me to have the guarantee on Castorice, but yeah, I've got quite a few pulls saved up. I'm at 24 pity, so I've done like a few pulls on Triby's Manor. I wanted to try to make it where I could roll 1984, by the way, but yeah, I wanted to try to make it where I could get Triby's E1 or lose 50-50 on the last banner, as either option would be good for me, and we ended up losing 50-50, so that means that I've been pre-farming for Castorus. I was, like, hoping for the 50-50 loss, because I was kind of planning on Castorus in general. So I'm glad that it happened, although it did happen a lot earlier than that. Like, I kind of just thought nothing would happen on the banner, to be honest, and was just pulling to build pity, because I do that a lot. As you can see, that's why all these characters have like 70, 80 pulls. Me just pulling on the banners whenever they're around, um, trying to see if I can get something out of it. Most of the time, the answer is no. Um, I've been sort of unlucky in a way. Like, I do plan around it though, so like it's meant that I have every 4-star character in maxed out copies. And it allows me to do stuff like build pity, so that way I can set it like 70 pity on the day of a banner and just drop a 10 pull the day that the banner comes out and have a character. Um Rather around with, so that's always nice. But yeah, these are all the banners that I've pulled on, and want to see my like general stats here. As you can see, we haven't been the luckiest in terms of rate up or 5 stars. Like the amount of 5 stars that I get per my pulls, not very good, but I do have a lot of 4 stars, so at least I get pulls generated quickly in a way. But yeah, basically, if someone else was on my account, they would probably have better luck than me, but um, according to the site average, but people that put their stuff in this might have better luck than the average person anyway. Yeah, it's statistic stuff, but yeah, basically statistics aren't 100% everything. So that's why I don't really mind it too much. But yeah, I do plan my pulls quite often. I don't really necessarily pull for like meta per se. I kind of just pull for characters that I want and then try to get the team that they need to do well. And a lot of the times, the characters that I get are meta, but a few of the picks that I done fairly recently weren't. So, um, and you can't really just say that I'm 100% like a meta player, but um, yeah, I always try to go for like team archetypes rather than just whatever the best team is at the moment. If that makes sense. Like I have a super break team, I have a follow-up attack team, I have a dot team. It will have a remembrance team. Now that's what I'm currently working on. And then I have like hyper carry team. So yeah, one of like each of the major archetypes in game that are prevalent are the ones that I'm trying to get something for. Um, and so yeah, that's been basically how I plan my pools. But around here is when I started realizing that that was a thing. Like, I didn't even really plan my pools in between any of these banners. I just pulled to try to get whatever character I wanted. Um, I didn't even know like 50/50s were a thing during this. I was just like, oh, I got a character. That's cool. Um, and like how all that worked. But yeah, I did lose a lot of my 50/50s and still do. So I plan around that by um, generally assuming that I will always lose a 50/50. And I do think that's the best way to play, even if you generally win 50/50s. But yeah, in my case, I'm not that fortunate, but um, guarantees are nice and good to play around with. So yeah, that's always something that I try to keep in mind. But yeah, whenever I started planning pools, it was around Topaz and Numby. Topaz and Numby weren't really a meta character at the time of their release, but um, I definitely wanted Topaz and Numby just 'cause I thought follow-up attacks were cool. Um, this was before follow-up attacks were really like an archetype. Like there were people that had follow-up attacks, but they were more so just. I mean, there wasn't really the archetypes or like in the game back then. It was really just did you have whatever character was on the banner, and if that character was strong enough or stronger than the previous character, then you would want to get them. But yeah, it was a little different than compared to now. There is still some of that idea of power creep there, but I don't think it's nearly as prevalent as it was back then. It's kind of stagnated in a way, but the area, like the level of stagnation, is a bit high. Yes, for lack of a better term. But yeah, basically, I wanted to get Topaz. Anyone with a functioning brain, I think, could tell that Topaz was going to be a character that was useful for future teams. It wasn't really ever designed to be like a hyper carry. Although I still even play her as one sometimes if I can get away with it in like simulated universe and stuff. But yeah, that's not really ever going to be like what she was intended for. Um, Ron May was kind of a no-brainer pool. Like everyone was getting Ron May. I'd be more surprised if people didn't have Ron. Like I know that she's getting um like you can get like a free copy of her in the next patch. I might go for her. I've heard that you get it in like a currency that you could use on other characters in the future, so I might save it um, for someone because there's definitely a few characters that I've missed that I wanted just for personal reasons, if nothing else. Um, and yeah, my account currently is in a position to where I can clear all in-game content with little to no difficulty, so I don't really pull for characters out of a necessity reason anyway, outside of future proofing my account in a way, I guess. But yeah, Veron May was a no-brainer pull, like everyone was getting her then. Then who did I lose my 50/50 on for that character? So I have to go to older. So yeah, got Jingyuan, got Silverwolf. I apparently pulled on Lotra's banner, but didn't get anything. Got Kafka. Lost 50/50 on Bailu's banner to the wrong Vidyadra. Nothing on Fushuan. Got Jingliu. And then, yeah, Topaz was my first 50/50 win. So that ended up working. Oh, it was my first banner was that 50/50 loss. But yeah. Um, I believe Raw and Maeve was like, or people knew that Raw and Maeve was releasing by the time that Wayne's banner was around. So it does make sense that I didn't really do too many pulls. Uh, like I did a lot of pulls on Wayne's banner, but I didn't really do anything for Arjiti. Uh, outside of probably getting a few of the like copies of Lynx. What I was going for if I had to guess, because it took me a long time to get enough copies of her, and I used her quite a bit on her release. For Kafka's banner, I always pull on Kafka banners whenever they're around. Okay, I didn't whenever the last one was because I wanted to get Black Swan, which, yeah, it's here. But, yeah, and then I wanted to get a copy of Robin as well if I could, but that didn't end up working out. Um, yeah, I didn't get Black Swan there. I went for Sparkle. Not getting Sparkle is probably one of the best things that's happened to me, as I didn't necessarily skip her intentionally. It's just she was never someone that I needed for anything, as I don't have this version of Dan Heng, Fiber Lune. Dan Heng. I feel like you kind of need him to justify getting her. Compared to other supports. Like most other supports, you can just stick in any team, and with Sparkle, you can to a certain extent. But some aspects of her kit are wasted outside of teams who are using a lot of SPs. So, yeah, um, I never really minded not having her, and it ended up being fine because Sunday is just like a better version of her by quite a bit. So, yeah. Lotra, I've tried to pull for a few times. I'm like tempted to get him during the next patch. I don't think that in my case Ron May E1 as or is as free to grab as what you would assume, just because it is good, but I am going for Castorice. I know that Lotric's really good with Castorice, but I also have other characters that I can use, so I'll have to do some testing whenever Castorice releases myself to see if I actually need to get him for any reason. And if that is the case, then I'll go for him. But if not, then yeah, probably never going to have him on my account. But I do like Lorch's design. Um, I did try to pull for him like every time he was around because I thought that he was really good. But the sustains that I have are more than enough for what I need at this point. Um, I didn't really play the game during Acheron's banner, her initial banner at least, so I didn't get her. Um, I thought I lost 50-50 to Will on Harry banner. Maybe it was this one. No. I did pull for E1 Jiggly a little bit, but never really committed to it. Got a Venturine for follow-up attack teams, because follow-up attack teams then were just like Topaz Numby, Aventurine, Ron May, and like Himiko would be used or something. Just some character that propped follow-up attacks, so or another buffer or sustain, depending on what you needed, I guess. But yeah, Venturine's pretty busted. Definitely one of my best pools that I've gotten. One of the most valuable ones. Same for Robin. I was I definitely like forced getting Robin. I don't remember if I topped up for her or not, but I did definitely have a lot of pools at the time, so there's a non-zero chance. Knowing me, but yeah, definitely a worthwhile character to get. Um, though I do still have the song stuck in my head permanently from her. I've always pulled on Fushuan banners because I do like her character, but and I want to run like a mono quantum team in the future. And she's another sustain, so getting her would make me have most of the sustains. All the preservation characters, but yeah, most of the sustains. And then Firefly was just fire like everyone pulled for Firefly. I'm probably one of the only accounts that don't have Firefly, but I never really saw the need for her as like in a meta sense, I guess. But she is very good. I just think that Himiko is a fine replacement. It's like a more free to play friendly option. Um, that's who I've always used on my Super Break teams before I got Rappa. Like I did around here, I realized that I needed some sort of super break DPS, so I was always looking for a good option. And it was between Rappa, Bootil, and Firefly, and I did go with Rappa eventually, which I do think was worthwhile. Managed to get Rappa and her light cone as well, so that definitely helps. With Jade, I got Jade fairly early in the pity for the extra copy, but yeah, like I just kind of did a few pulls a day. Like whenever I pull a character, if it's a character that I wanted, I'll usually keep pulling on their banner after I get a copy of them, just to see if I can either lose 50-50 or win 50-50 and get another copy. And happened to get it with Jade, and yeah, that's ended up being one of the best things that's happened to my account for sure. As Jade's E1 is pretty invaluable for her. Definitely one of the best first Eidolons in the game for any character, not only just for like a DPS character, but makes it where she can be used in a lot of ways that she would normally not be able to be used. Uh, so, yeah, went for her. Then finally got my copy of Fluffla. She was someone that I wanted, um, as I didn't have a limited abundance character at the time. I eventually did get a slingshot as well, but I got her. I did one pull on Yunli's banner, I guess. I probably got Whamma, and it was during a rerun with Yunli. I probably just pulled on the other banner not to get an extra copy, as I didn't want her E1 at the time. I do kind of want it now, and I had been tempted to pull for it more, but uh, I've already done quite a bit of free farming for Castorice, so I don't really want to let that go to waste at the moment. Then yeah, more Sparkle pools. Pool for E1 Robin. Didn't get it. I've done more pools for Robin than like any other character by quite a bit at this point. But yeah, my main goal for this banner was to get Black Swan, which I managed to get fairly early after losing a 50-50, which is nice. Um, yeah, then I did a few pulls for Fei Xiao. This was during Fei Xiao's initial banner, but I was a bit more focused on getting copies of Topaz's light cone at the time, I believe, as I pulled for it quite a lot and still haven't gotten it. I'll get it one day, for sure. That got Lingsha. This was like one of the first characters where I just pulled for their light cone, as I had a bunch of pity built up, and there wasn't really anyone upcoming that I wanted. Um, for any particular reason at the time, so I was like, I might as well pull for a light cone as I already have a bunch of pity built up, so got it, and then yeah, I kind of went on a trend and got a bunch of early light codes after that for 2 times, and then tried to get Fei Xiao's and also Robin's, but neither of those came to pass. I did get tributes from that though, so it ended up working out. But yeah, got Lingsha, then needed to get some sort of break DPS, as my break team was definitely suffering just using Himiko. Or I also used Shui as well as a break DPS, but neither option were as efficient as Rappa. And Rappa ended up being another pretty good Lingsha as well. Very good character. But yeah, Rappa has definitely aged pretty well. I had no idea that the game was going to go in the direction it did, where AoE teams would be heavily favored, or like AoE focused damaging teams would be heavily favored in most content. And yeah, since Rappa's release, it's kind of just been a lot of AoE teams. I did get a single target damage healer in Fei Xiao as a backup plan for if the game decides to go back to more single target focus. But yeah, at the moment I have Rappa, I have Jade as like my main ones. I have Lingsha as well. very solid AoE. I've always run dot, tried to play around dot, so it's fairly AoE focused as well. Um, yeah, overall AoE is not too big of an issue, but just ever since like Herda and Rappa's release, there's been quite an increase in AoE teams. And I got Sunday. Um, I got him kind of like me getting Rappa. I mean, not like me getting Topaz, where I could tell that he would be useful for future characters, so I wanted to get him for summon teams. Turns out he's not even that good in the team that I'm going to be making as my summon team with Castorice, but I'll test that sort of a thing whenever Castorice releases myself to further verify it. But yeah, he has done quite a lot for my Jing Liu, and allowing me to play her, which is nice. And Jing Liu is getting buffed in version 3.4, so maybe the Sunday pool will have even more use then. I guess I'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it does allow me to have like 100% crit rate on Jing Liu while having like 0 crit rate on my Jing Liu. I think she has like 20% at the moment, so passive goes up to like 70, and then with Sunday it goes up to 100%. Or I don't know what the exact number is. It's probably like 98% crit rate, but it's basically enough to where she's never going to not crit. It might be overcapped, but I don't remember off the top of my head. It's been a while since I played the team. And I did pull for a few, ended up losing with 50-50 to E4 Bronya, I think, at that point. Or it might be E3, but an unfortunate loss after just having pulled Sunday, which is basically just Bronya, but better in every way. Um, so, yeah, kind of unfortunate. Got Fei Xiao as a consolation prize, though. Uh, Derda's banner was running, and this was Fei Xiao's rerun, which is not really what many would consider to be an optimal play. Um, but Fei Xiao has actually saved a lot of my Memory of Chaos runs and other in-game mode runs quite a bit, so I think that she's very good. Um, even though content is not like AoE focused or single target focus at the moment, it's more AoE focused. There's been a few single target situations where if I did not have Fei Xiao, I might have been in some hot water. Um, so it's ended up working out for me, but I can't say that skipping Thirda for Fei Xiao was necessarily the best decision I made, but so far it hasn't really caused any issues, so guess I'll see. But yeah, another Robin banner, so even more pulls going to Robin. Pretty much anytime she's around, I try to get her E1. I did do a few pulls for Aklea as well, as I did want a Remembrance character, but yeah, that was never really gonna happen. I just kind of wanted. I'd rather have E1 Robin than get a Remembrance character for my team, if that makes sense. So that was my decision process for spending the rest of my pulls on Robin instead. And then, yeah, I happened to get Tribby, as Tribby will be really good with Castorice, and it's really good with Jade at the least, so I'll always run these two together. Like, one of my favorite teams to play with Jade after getting Lingsha was Jade Lingsha. Just those two together. Not even with, like, a DPS or anything. Having Jade work as a main DPS, as E1 Jade can do that a little bit better than other characters can, but yeah, with Tribby, you can also run a similar thing where you give your buff to Tribby instead, as Tribby's basic attack is a blast attack, so you'll always get at least 3 stacks, assuming there's 3 enemies. But if you're E1 Jade, you always get 3 stacks if there's 1 enemy as well. So ended up working out pretty good, and Tribby also launches a bunch of follow-up attacks, which help you get more stacks of Jade's passive as well from that. So yeah, that was my basic thought process behind each pool. So was pull for characters that I like up until like here. Although I do still like the characters that I pull for. Um, but I wanted to get like a team for like a specific character from this point forward. So like I like Topaz, so I pulled her, and that I wanted to make a team around Topaz, so I got Ron May, who's one of the characters I like as well. I got a Venturine, a character that I think is fine, but is really good. Um, then eventually upgrading that with Robin, and finally completing a proper follow-up attack team with like Hunt March, but having Jade as an option, and then I also have Facial as an option as well now. And then for Super Rank teams, Super Rank teams are kind of one of those things where you could build it without having to pull any characters. Like, I had a Super Rank team uh, during these banners, even though I didn't have any characters that were specifically designed for Super Break as 5-star characters. I mean, I still had like Himiko, uh, Harmony Trailblazer, Gallagher, and Ron May. So Ron May was like, or Ron May and the Harmony Trailblazer were really the only characters I had that were designed for Super Break. That are the Ron May's technically not designed for Super Break, but are used in Super Break teams that were meta. The rest were like Himiko and Gallagher, which were fine, but eventually got better alternatives that I got in the forms of like Lingsha and Rappa. And then for Hyper Carry, I always had Jingli, so just used her. Sunday did help my Hyper Carry team a little bit, but wasn't really necessary. For Dot, I've always had Kafka since her initial banner. Was the character that I wanted the most whenever I first started playing, so definitely grabbed her, and then eventually got Black Swan, but it wasn't. I never got Black Swan whenever Black Swan was a goaded character, but she's still fine. Like, still helps with that. And Kafka's getting buffed in 3.4, so I'm interested to see how that will work. You have Kafka getting buffed, you have Silverwolf getting buffed, and you have Jingliu getting buffed. In that patch, so I'll be making a video talking about my thoughts on them before and after, and if I regretted pulling them over the past bit of time since before they've been buffed. As no, there hasn't really been any pulls that I've regretted making. There's been like, if I had known that I was getting an extra copy of Jade, I might not have pulled and waited until Huahua's banner to cash out early, but that would be more like a hindsight thing. There hasn't really been any characters that I pulled that I've like stopped using entirely. I even use Silverwolf in some things occasionally. Um, I didn't necessarily pull Dr. Ratio, but I never really used him. I did use him at the time for my fault. I forgot that he existed, and that's who I was using with uh, my Topaz and Numby. I was like, wait, there's got to be some character that I'm missing for the fall with acting. Like, who was I using before Jade? And then, yeah, it was Dr. Ratio. I kind of just forgot he existed, I'm not going to lie. And I'm looking at a picture of My Day right now on my TV screen as I saw the pool screen open from when I showed that off earlier to show how many Jades I have saved up for Castorice. But yeah, that's my pool plans so far. Basically, I was always going to pull Castorice as I need her for my summon team. So yeah, you can have, or you can see all my team lineups here. Got follow-up attack, got dot, super break, got hyper carry, and then this is like my pure fiction follow-up attack team that I use for pretty much everything at this point. It's got like double harmony with Gene damage, so a lot of AoE damage. Then just some random teams here and there. This is my main summon team at the moment. It's Jingyuan in the HSR team, the Sunday Robin team, although Eventually, I will replace Jingyuan with Castorice, and then I will also be replacing Robin with Tribby, see how that works out. Then if I need to swap out Wanhua for someone if she can't heal them enough, or if the energy regen she needs isn't necessary, I could even try Lingsha depending on the circumstance. It's got to be some sort of abundance character since I'll need HP restoration. But yeah, this is basically my main summon team at the moment. And Jingyu saying it's really a summon. It's a summon. It's not really like a Mimo sprite, which is something that I want to try to make. And then yeah, I don't even really know what this team is. I guess it's just something that exists. But um, yeah, that's my thought process on everything at the moment. If Castorice was going to be a character that was useless, well,
could you please maintain a safe distance?
I forgot that if you buff into her, she says that. Yeah, even if Castorice was going to be a character that was like literally useless, as long as she was a remembrance DPS, I was going to be pulling for her. That's like the main reason I'm not pulling for My Day. Like if My Day was a remembrance character, I would have pulled for him instead, as I really like My Day's character a lot. His banner timing is just a bit unfortunate because I am trying to get some form of remembrance character, and yeah, it's not him. If he was, then I would have pulled for him for sure. Uh, And I don't even think he's like that bad of a character or anything. Um, as far as I'm aware, I didn't really look into him because I'm not pulling for him, and most of the time I don't really look into characters that I don't plan on pulling too much. That's why I don't really have like whenever I discuss characters with people like Yunli or Firefly or Boot Hill, I can't really like say too much about them as I've never looked into them as I never planned on pulling for them. I have gotten every character that I've planned on pulling for except for few, but she's more of like a bonus to me. Like uh, Sunday's kind of like a bonus character in a way. For like Jade, I pulled them mostly because I like their character rather than for a specific team in mind. Basically, that's where I would put Fugue as a. I do like Ting Yun's character, so I wanted to get Fugue for like that reason. But um, me not having her is not actively hurting my team's performance in a significant way for my Super Break teams. So that's kind of my thought process on the matter. But yeah, I used to have every um, preservation character for RFE Soul's release, but yeah, since then, that's like the closest, or one of the closest ones, Harmony. Also pretty close for having everyone. But there's a few characters that I'm missing. No 4 stars, of course. All just 5-star ones. And I do have every idol on for all the 4-star characters, so I can just build them whenever I try them out. And there's a few that I use still. Like I'll always use March. Tingyun still sees occasional use. Guanifan still sees occasional use in dot teams. Herda in Pure Fiction, Serval. I've tried to experiment with a lot to see if I can make her work in situations. Wei Yi, Gallagher, just some characters that I still use for 4-star options. But yeah, 5-star characters are still really strong as always. I don't think Castorice is a must pull for everyone, but Castorice is a must pull for me specifically, as I have planned my account since before um, Emphorius even started to pull for Castorice around this point. Um, like a lot of the times, if I pull a DPS character, it's because I feel like the game's difficulty is going to increase in a way that I will need some sort of uh, significant DPS increase that I can't get just from farming better relics for my already existing characters and teams. Uh, like with Rappa, that was one of the reasons that I pulled her was because my Super Break team wasn't performing as well as I needed it to with just Himiko as a DPS. So needed some better form of DPS. Same thing for Fei Zhao. Um, my single target follow-up attack team with Dr. Ratio was definitely going to start underperforming. Dr. Ratio or Hunt March. Um, and I still feel like they would be likely to underperform, even though they're currently fine enough as is. Fei Zhao was like a little bit of a jumping the gun situation, but I also had a bunch of things farmed up for Fei Zhao from farming for Rappa. So ended up giving me a chance to offload those onto a character that I could use. But you could say I could build like Mo's and try him out, but um, in that sort of a situation. But yeah, I actively skipped out on the Herda and also Aglaya, so I haven't pulled any of the DPS characters yet, and I'm currently skipping out on My Day as well at the moment. So yeah, that's 3 DPSs in a row that I'm not pulling. That the game is starting to be balanced around. So um, as more DPSs come out, the games will start being balanced around them. And if they are stronger than previous DPSs by a significant amount, then the game will be a lot harder for the older DPSs. So I generally try to get a character that I think will have the most universal value amongst the DPSs. Like I thought that Jade would be kind of a character that you could use in a lot of scenarios that someone like Ratio, who's too like specialized in single target, wouldn't be too useful for. Same thing for Rappa. Like, while it is true that Rappa or like that Firefly and Boot Hill can implant weaknesses, which makes it a lot easier for them to get breaks than Rappa sometimes. Rappa does have um, imaginary typing, which is a pretty common enemy typing. It's also shared with the Trailblazer, who's going to be helping her break things in Super Break teams, unless you have Fugue, and even then Fugue gets Rainbow Breaks, so that would be a bit redundant. And also, Rappa's ult, where her damage comes from, decreases toughness as well. So generally, there's not really been any issues with Rappa. As far as that goes, she's kind of a more universal character. I think that Air Edition characters honestly have a pretty good standard for being universal. Like the Herda, if I didn't get Fei Zhao, I would have gotten the Herda, as I think that she's kind of like a general all-purpose use character. She does fine in single target, although more specifically designed for multi-target scenarios, but doesn't decrease in performance significantly, whereas you have a character like Fei Zhao that decreases a lot in performance in AoE scenarios, but um, I've run some weird teams with her and Jade that honestly don't do that bad AoE, but that's likely just because I have a E1 Jade. But I also think that Tribi is a universal character, or like universal sports. She's just good with any AoE damage healer. It can be the Herda, it can be Castorice, it can be Jade. So yeah, I have like a lot of AoE characters anyway. I have a lot of the Air Edition ones. A lot of the destruction characters are not necessarily AoE, but have like multi-target, which is good for um, Tribi. And then the dot team's also AoE, so you could use Tribi there, kind of, but I don't think it's like super effective. But yeah, overall, that's kind of just my thoughts on everything. Um, I do think the global passive, I'm kind of waiting to see what will become of that. Um, I do think there's a non-zero chance I just never give another character a global passive, but I won't say that that's entirely out of the realm possibility for them to start giving characters global passives, which would, depending on how the global passives go, it would be problematic. I don't think that a revive is like that crazy though, personally. Um, if you played at all with Bailu on your teams in the past, then you would know that, like, generally, if you're using a revive in a situation like that, most of the time your team's not able to sustain themselves even after the revive, or you have other issues with, like, the fact that your character's dying is one of the least of your concerns in a situation where a revive would be a big deal
How
or
long
whatever,
do
you
I
know.
have to live like this?
If it's like give character some extra crit damage or something as a global passive, that's when I would start getting concerned. But since I haven't done that, wait and see. I do think that Starville is still really fun for me personally. I know that a lot of people have kind of lost interest in it, but um, due to the lack of events and stuff, and I do think that more events would definitely help. Uh, I will say that the story's been pretty good so far for Amphorius. I still need to do this event myself. Like I haven't caught up on all the events personally, but um, if you're someone that for some reason no life sorrow, then like I play Sorrow quite a lot. I have what 450 hours in the game at this point. uh, I wouldn't even say that I like no life Starro though. Like it's still a side game for me. It's something that I just do once a day most of the time to drain my Trailblaze power and move on. I don't usually watch like Star Rail content too much outside of my own stuff. When I do like a video going over beating whatever in-game mode is resetting. Um, I also did a video of me doing a run of the
I don't know how to
um, new simulated universe stuff, and there's still more stuff that I need to do in Divergent Universe myself as well. Um, but it's still a long time before that has another expansion or anything. Um, so I'm not rushing to get it done. But if you're someone that does rush to get everything done, then yeah, I can see how stuff would or how you'd run out of stuff to do. But me personally, like I don't know, there's still a lot of achievements to do. Trying to get over there, but I have really bad controller drift to the left, so not the easiest. But yeah, I have a lot of achievements that I need to do. Like just look at this category. There was a point in time where I had most of the achievements in the game, but since Pinnacle release, I've been kind of slacking on it. So yeah, I've got a lot of those to do. I've got Divergent Universe stuff to do. I've got the Chimera event to finish at the moment. I've got areas to get chest for. I did get the item that makes it where you automatically know the location of a chest in the area, which is this thing here. There's none here. That was how I found this area. With me using that to get some chests the other day. Um,
Just hearing this melody makes me feel better.
but yeah, overall the game's still really fun for me. I'll always like Star Rail's like
I
main
don't know how
gameplay
long
loop.
it
Um,
is.
with its turn-based combat elemental system and stuff. So I'll always be doing that at least. And I still think about like the characters and stuff as I do like a lot of the characters' personalities and all that. So I'll be sticking with Star Rail for quite a bit of time still. I don't plan on taking a break or anything like I've done in the past with Pinnacle. There were a lot of factors that led to me taking a break. It wasn't my disinterest in the game. Clearly, it was me prioritizing other things at the time. And currently, I'm not in a position to where that would be any sort of issue. So, um, yeah, I'm still planning on doing a bunch of Starfield stuff, basically for the immediate future. I've still got like nymphs and stuff to collect. Like, there's still like a lot of stuff for me to do personally, but um, all stuff. But I guess there's people that get all this stuff done quickly. Stuff. I have been procrastinating on it quite a bit, so maybe it's just me being behind. But I also play like Genshin and everything else, and procrastinate in that. So procrastinated a lot of the Hoyoverse games. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the situation and everything. I didn't really like write a script for this, as if I didn't record something like this, I wouldn't be able to say it in a way that I thought got my points across. So a little bit scattered and disorganized, but yeah, just thought I'd give my thoughts on the situation since I've seen like literally everyone that makes Star Rail videos that I see on like my YouTube recommended talk about Castorice. And that's thing. So thought I'd give my thoughts on the situation overall and how I plan on pools stuff. I wanted to make a video on like how I plan pools way
Looks
before
like
all
this
this stuff with
water.
Castorice was even like leaked. Or I mean, people had dreams about all this stuff with Castorice as I had been seeing people talk about their dreams of Castorice having a global passive for a while. So uh, it wasn't too surprising to me whenever they officially announced it. But even before those dreams of her having a global passive existed, um, I had been planning on getting her anyway, just because of how I plan my pools and my teams and everything. So I was planning on doing a video talking about that before then, but never really got around to it. So this kind of serves as a chance to do that and a chance to talk about my stuff or my thoughts on castrates and everything. So yeah, don't really have anything else to say. That'll be it for now. Because I'll see everyone in the next one.